What's up YouTube, Henry Chunk Fitness here. Today we are here to review the Wheeltop EDS electronic wireless group set. Now if you've seen my previous unboxing video, you've seen that I bought this from AliExpress and I did pay roughly 650 Canadian at the time, which is close to about 474 USD. I was one of the first to buy this off AliExpress, so I was really lucky to get it, especially since I live in Canada, and at the time it was widely unavailable in North America. Now, I decided to jump on the Wheeltop group set because I had some issues with my Higgy frame set because I had to replace the brake cable housing. However, I was running into a lot of issues because it was really difficult to replace the cable housing through the integrated handlebar. So I decided to jump on the Wheeltop versus the L2 ER9 because this one is fully wireless compared to the L2 ER9, and also it was only about $50 to $100 more expensive. If you've seen the stuff coming out of Wheeltop, you've seen that they are coming out with the new gravel group set as well. Really cool things happening out of Wheeltop, so I really like to see these new Chinese group sets that are combating against SRAM and Shimano. So far, I've had this group set for about 1 month. I've installed it on my Higgy frame and I've used it for roughly about 230 kilometers or 140 miles of riding. Now, that's not a lot. However, this is an initial review, so take it for granted. And mostly I rode it by commuting to work. So I commute about 18 kilometers one way to work, and I rode it through some light rain along with some light gravel too. And so far it's been working out really great. And especially as my first foray into an electronic group set, I've been really happy with its performance. Now, out of the box, pairing the device was fairly easy as well. Turn on Bluetooth on your phone and make sure to download the Wheeltop app. I'm currently using an iPhone, so things seem to be working out fairly easy. Charge the device and it's fairly simple to pair. Now, in terms of the initial calibration, I did find that it could be a bit confusing. The instructions are not the most clear instructions, I would say. So check out the Wheeltop installation video, and that seemed to help quite a bit. Now, starting off with the build, it was extremely easy to build up this group set because it's electronic and fully wireless. So the shifters were easy to assemble, as well as the derailleurs. You simply assemble them without any wires. To set up your rear derailleur, if your derailleur is not shifting at all and it's already at the largest cassette, you'll have to go into initial calibration and press the arrow until this moves all the way to the smallest cog. So make sure you do that. I did find that it wasn't shifting initially, but you have to bring the initial calibration all the way to the smallest cog, and then you'll be good. Now, once that's done, you're able to fine tune the gears in terms of the distance to move the rear derailleur, and you can actually fine tune adjust it. And I find that that's really helpful because unfortunately my bike did fall on its side. Luckily indoors, but it did fall on its side and it did slightly bend a bit. And I'm guessing the derailleur hanger was slightly bent or something. However, I was able to reprogram and fine tune the gears so that it's actually shifting properly in each gear. Not the best solution, but it is a solution that can really come in handy, especially if you're comparing to mechanical. Mechanical, you can't fine tune the fine adjustment for each speed. However, for this one you can, which is a big plus in my books. Now, I will say when installing the shifters, I'm going to say the hood quality is absolutely excellent. Soft to the touch, but it's very firm, so it's high quality. The only issue I found is that because it's so firm, it's really hard to peel back the hoods. In terms of peeling back the hood to access the hydraulic port, as well as to access the tightening screw for the shifter, it was quite difficult, so I will mention that. But on the plus side, it seems like it will last for quite some time. In terms of the ergonomics of the shifters, I do find that they're fairly similar to Shimano and fairly similar to the Sensa Team Pros that I had. So in terms of ergonomics, I do like how they feel. I have heard that the L2 ones are a bit on the smaller side, but these ones, they seem to fit nice in my hands. Another cool aspect of this group set is that it's adjustable to various different speed bikes. I believe it's advertised as 8 to 13 speeds. If you're looking to revive an old, let's say, rim brake frame, then this is quite an easy option because there's no cables required. Honestly, I would love to have tried that one, but I did want to try hydraulic for the first time, so I jumped on the hydraulic version. And honestly, I'm very impressed with the braking quality of the Wheeltop brakes. It comes with the hydraulic calipers as well as the cable housing, so that's really good to see. I did use an AliExpress Easy MTB bleed brake kit to set up the hydraulic brakes, so it all worked out there. And honestly, braking quality for the hydraulic compared to the former hybrid disc brakes that I had, which was cable pull, the Oniri BR05, I want to say it's a world of a difference in terms of braking. I personally really like the hydraulic braking. It just feels more in control in my opinion. Maybe I didn't set up the former hybrids that well, but I would say that I have more confidence in the hydraulic braking versus the hybrid brakes from Oniri. A cool thing about the derailleurs is that you can actually wake up the devices by shaking the bike or moving the bike. So you can pair it to your app by turning on your Bluetooth and pressing the Bluetooth button in the device screen of the app for Wheeltop. And that way you can easily check your battery level for rear derailleur, front derailleur, and front shifters too. So I've used it for about a month and I've done a lot of shifting, especially because I commute. And essentially right now, I believe I'm at about 30% for the rear derailleur because it's doing more shifting. And the front derailleur, I'm roughly at about 75%. And the front shifters are about 3.1 volts, started out at 3.2 volts for the coin cell batteries. One thing to note on the shifters, the coin cell locations for the shifters, it is a bit finicky in my opinion, and I did strip an O-ring, or it came like that. So I did request Wheeltop. However, they told me to reach out to the AliExpress seller, which I did. And luckily, thank you to the AliExpress seller, they were able to send me a new set of battery compartment doors with O-rings. So those are in. Fingers crossed that there's no water ingress in the future. But overall, the build went really straightforward. I love riding the bike. Electronic is quite different than mechanical. The button pressing is quite different than the lever throw for, let's say, a mechanical shifting. It's something to get used to, but honestly, I got fairly used to it. Well into my first ride, I was able to shift quite intuitively. So I would say it's not a big jump going from mechanical to electronic. One cool thing is that you can actually program the front shifters in terms of shift up or down in the rear derailleur, and you can kind of configure the buttons as you please depending on your riding style. In terms of accessing the buttons while you're in the drops versus the hoods, very comfortable in my opinion. There is just the one button on the left side, which is the front derailleur, which is very straightforward. Press once to increase or decrease to the large chainring or the small chainring, very easy to use. And then on the right side, which is the rear derailleur shifting, you've got the increase or decrease buttons. And in my opinion, it seems like you can mix them up, but it's fairly straightforward. There is a bit of a difference in texture and shape and size, so it's quite intuitive. Honestly, for my first wireless group set and first electronic group set, I'm extremely happy with how it's performing and how the shifting is. One thing that I really love is just how easy it was to assemble and how easy it was to set up in a road bike frame. Specifically one that has an integrated Aero handlebar. Now, I used to have 4 cables in my Aero integrated handlebar because I was running mechanical fully, mechanical cables for shifting as well as mechanical cables for my hybrid brakes. But now there's only 2 cable housings, which are the hydraulic brake cables. So much easier. And in terms of the weight, I did weigh my bike. My bike with the Wheeltop EDS TX, it actually comes in at the same weight as my former mechanical group set, the Shimano 105 plus shifter cabling as well as the hybrid disc brakes. It's coming out at about 17.36 pounds total for the bike, so really cool to see that. So in terms of the pros, wireless is awesome in my opinion. It's definitely different than mechanical. There's a bit of a different sound and actuation, but I personally like it. You can still hear it shifting and feel it, and I do like it. One thing to mention is that people are worried about shifting under power or under load. I do find that, I'm not putting out massive watts, but let's say I'm doing a hill climb and I'm shifting. I do find that it does shift properly with under load, let's say 500 watts, etc. So it seems to be able to handle that. Another pro is that it seems fairly high quality in my opinion. Now, I got the aluminum version with the hydraulic disc brakes, and honestly, in my opinion, it feels like a premium version of a group set, especially because it's electronic and wireless. Shifting is smooth and crisp, and there's something just really neat about electronic shifting. It seems high tech and kind of like Iron Man or something like that. Also, Wheeltop has been in the wireless group set business for a bit. I'm not entirely sure how long, but they did come out with the former mountain bike group set first. So I've seen some reviews on that and it's been nothing but praise. So fingers crossed on this set. We'll see how it fares. I'll have to give a long-term review in the future, but so far so good. And overall, the brakes seem to work really well as the hydraulic brakes. So I am currently using some cheap brake pads off Amazon because I was in a pinch and I didn't have the right size ones. However, I did order some Kuma pink disc brake pads, which I'll toss on there once it's ready to change the brake pads. And overall, for the price that I paid, which is 474 USD or 650 Canadian, in my opinion, I think it's worth it for the brake calipers, cable housings, the front shifters, rear shifter, and front derailleur. And compared to SRAM, it's a much better option in terms of price, in my opinion. You're taking the risk by purchasing a Chinese group set. Some cons that I can think of is that while the hood quality is very great on the shifters, it is a bit stiff and it's really hard to access the hydraulic port along with the tightening screw for the shifter onto the handlebar. I did tighten to roughly 5 Newton meters initially on my carbon aero handlebar. However, I found that it kept moving, so I even added some carbon paste, but that didn't do the trick. So I bumped it up to closer to 6.5 Newton meters on the handlebar, and that seems to be doing the trick so far. Another con would be that the batteries, I'm not entirely sure if they're removable or serviceable for that matter. It's not like SRAM where you can completely remove the battery and swap it out. So, if you're in a pinch, I might have to carry around a charging cable just in case with a battery pack or use my phone to charge it somehow. But that might be something that I'll have to do. Fingers crossed, I haven't run into the battery dying yet because I do check frequently and I might just charge it every month just to be on top of that. However, over time, I wonder how long the battery will last long term and how long the group set will last in terms of the battery lifetime. I believe if the rear derailleur fails over time, it's the main controlling unit, so you might have to replace the whole group set. That's one issue that I foresee. However, let's say your front shifter or front derailleur goes out, those are swappable if I'm not mistaken, and you could still use the rear derailleur, which is the main control unit. One more con that I could think of would be the cover for the rear derailleur. Charging port seems a bit finicky, so it does fit, but you just have to fiddle around with it a bit to make sure that it closes. We'll see long term how the waterproofing fares. It is IP67, so it should be pretty good, but we'll have to see. And last but not least for the con, the instructions aren't very clear. As per most Chinese branded products, the instructions are a bit difficult to understand and all over the place. However, their video on YouTube does seem to provide good detail in terms of how to install, pair, and connect the devices. So go check out the YouTube video. That seemed to help a lot in my opinion. But overall, I'm really impressed so far. Would I recommend this group set? So far, I would recommend this group set. However, I haven't done a long-term review, so you'll have to come back to see that long-term review. But my initial opinion of this group set is that it's awesome. For the price I paid especially, I do know that they're selling for about 750 euros now, which in my opinion is a bit pricey. I would not pay that much. But overall, it seems like that's where the bike industry is pushing us to purchase wireless group sets, electronic shifting, etc. Overall, Wheeltop, they're doing great things. I'm really excited to see what they do. Again, they're coming out with a gravel version sometime in the future, so really looking forward to that. Again, I paid for this out of my own pocket. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you own a Wheeltop Groupset, Wheeltop EDS TX, let me know in the comments below if you're enjoying it, or even if you've run into issues, let me know in the comments below. I'll keep riding. We'll come back once I've had more miles on this, and then we'll do a long-term review. So until next time, have a good one.